Okay, so now in the birthday party, a play, yet another absurd play after waiting for Godot, written by this one written by Harold Pinter. I would request you to keep these pages open and keep on giving me some kinds of answers about what questions I keep on asking. First, we will start with the biography, a few aspects of the biography of Harold Pinter. So there is one page about there is a link given about biography of Harold Pinter that you have to keep in mind. Uh, Michael Bellington is the biographer of Harold Pinter, and so he is one of the authentic voice when we talk about Harold Pinter. Michael Bellington. So whenever you refer to any resources and you find written by Michael Bellington or has a reference of Michael Bellington, then it will be very reliable source in the biography of Harold Pinter. After biography, we will come to the text, the title of the text, characters, plot, and central theme. These things very quickly we will overview today. Okay, so let me use the another camera for the board view. Yeah, okay. So from this angle, we will try to see the things there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, what we have to see is uh, Harold Pinter's biographical aspects. Yes. So the dates. Please help me with the dates. Harold Pinter, his birth date, and his when he passed away. Yes. Which are the dates of Harold Pinter?
Born on 10 October 1930.
10 October
1930.
1930. Okay. And
Died on 24 December 2008.
so you will find very recent. Yes, very recently. Quite lived quite a long life. And very recently only he passed away. Okay. And because of that, there are lots of writing about Harold Pinter. You will find it on websites. Michael Bellington's writing also you will find there. Yeah? Michael Bellington, yeah, is writing. Also, you will find this. Now, in which year he received Nobel Prize?
2005.
2005. Okay, in 2005, he received Nobel Prize there. In which year birthday party is written? This was written, published, performed in which year?
1957.
1957. Yeah. Okay. And the film version that we are going to watch, in which year was that film made or released?
Sir, 1968?
1968?
Yeah, sir. As far as I have searched, it says 1968, the
Yeah.
movie
Okay.
version.
Yeah. Movie version, which is also screenplay written by Harold Pinter. Yes, screenplay also of the film. The film also written by him. So Harold Pinter, when we see the biographical sketches, you will find that he was writing plays for the stage. He was writing plays for radio also, and also writing screenplay for cinema, for films also. Many of the other absurd plays, for example, Kafka's The Trial. This is again considered as one of the very seminal work in in this modernism, postmodernism, 20th century literature. Franz Kafka, we do not have any text from Kafka's writing. Like very important one is Metamorphosis, yeah, which people keep on referring time and again, Metamorphosis, but the other is Trial also, from where he is highly influenced, Pinter, and there is this Kafkaesque. Kafkaesque, that's the term which comes from this, which gets reflected in The Trial. And he has written a screenplay of The Trial also, Harold Pinter. So he's a writer, he's the one who writes for film also, he's the one who writes for stage also, he's the one who writes for film as well as stage. And both the writings are much different, but he is aware about what is the difference of stage and film. And that's why when we will discuss the movie version, 1968 version of this play, which also is written by Harold Pinter. That's why this review also becomes very important, which gives us an idea of reading the adaptations in a proper way, that how the nuances of the play, nuances of the text, which is written for stage, can be converted into something for screen, from stage to screen. When things change from stage to screen, this is something very significant and necessary required, because there is a language of camera in that. So that article will help us to throw some light on these technical aspects of writing for stage and writing for film also. Okay, so Pinter, 32, 2008, 2005, he got Nobel Prize. When he got Nobel Prize, it was a great surprise. It was great surprise to everybody, even to Pinter. But apart from that, it was great surprise to many people, because the reason was not that he was whether he deserves Nobel Prize or not, whether he has contributed in the field of literature as such or not. That question always comes whenever anybody gets a Nobel Prize, like Louise Glick recently, right? Many people say, well, her writing is not that significant, that it can be considered as Nobel also. Many times, by and large, these questions always keep on coming about this. But in case of Harold Pinter, it was not this concern. It was not this concern that his literary output in form of cinema, stage, radio is significant or not. But the surprise was because of his political stance, because of his political activism. Because of his political activism, he is one of the very bitter critic of America or the Western world, very bitter critic of USA, UK, very bitter critic of the Western world, and especially their foreign policies regarding the third world countries. About this, so he is very openly criticized the political leadership of USA and UK, and that is, and he was involved into those things, and that is why it was very difficult to see that whether he would ever get a Nobel Prize or not. He was by and large a politically incorrect person in those writings. Well, this play is written way ahead of all these things. This play is written way ahead. This was the, you can say, era of Cold era, Cold War era. It was this, and then post 1990s, the rise of America, collaboration of European countries like UK, France, and it gives a different kinds of central to the world, and lot many things. So that is one of the aspect of his, that he was will he ever get it or not. He was not in a good condition health-wise when this happened, so he was not able to go personally to accept Nobel Prize. But he conveyed his message through videotape, through video message he conveyed, and that video message also is available on the Nobel Prize website, and it is published as an article also. The article which we said that we will discuss that article day after tomorrow after watching the film. We will see this article, which is very significant even today, and perhaps it will remain very significant in times to come also his speech and that article is very significant to look at literature, role of literature in society, and also the role of artist, in society, in the society where political dimensions are becoming very tough to speak, to question the power in that time. What is this role of artists? That becomes very significant. Now, why this biography is necessary? We normally don't go into the bio. Like in case of Beckett, we have not seen the biography. We have not seen the bio. In case of T.S. Eliot, we had not touched upon the biography until the last point that we were trying to look at, the autobiographical reading of the play. Only for that aspect we have seen the biography of T.S. Eliot. In Virginia Woolf, we have seen the biography. We have seen and we have tried to connect many things from the life and the works of this. Again, here we are looking at the biographical aspect. Why? Because this plays a very vital role in rereading The Birthday Party, the play which was written much ahead of the time when what he became afterwards, his political activism, his voice as not only as an artist but also as a human being, as a citizen, that all voice that gave us a new way of leading The Birthday Party. And that is what we see is that artist in society becomes one of the central theme of The Birthday Party. This idea, the predicament of an artist in a society where political dynamism do not allow people to speak, freedom of speech or freedom of expression. When it becomes very difficult for an artist, then what artists do is that they go in exile. And here we have a character, protagonist, who is in exile. This reading becomes important. Now again, I say that when Birthday Party is written, we don't know whether these were the things in his mind, or how the world will shape after 50s into 90s and then coming down to 2000, or 9/11 event, and after 9/11 how USA will be seen by the world. All those things were not perceived in this time. So we can't say that perhaps this was the only way of reading. So we can read this play in variety of ways. But as when we study Waiting for Godot, from variety of interpretations that we can do of Waiting for Godot, one of the central idea that remains is about theology, or religion and human existence, or how religion plays a very vital role in forcing human beings to practice bad faith, practicing, and in that where we are almost choiceless, we remain choiceless in that context where it is very difficult to go for choices which are without religious aspects of life. That is the central of reading. But many other readings also we can do: psychological reading, we can do political reading of Cold Wars, we can do in that. So those all things are possible. But along with that, that is one center. So here, many things we can read, but this will remain at the center. And this becomes important because what Pinter became in his life later on, that plays a very vital role in looking at this. In his speech also, he remained bold. He was bold as a political activist, and he remained so when he was given the speech. And he did not spare USA or UK, even in that speech also. When he was given that, he displayed a kind of a courage, which many times people say that artists should have that courage, that idea of withdraw. That is what Pinter has really displayed in his life. Even when in 2005 he was given Nobel Prize, he was not there to speak sweetie, goody kind of things about the powerful leaders of the world, So that is one part, the biography we study. Another very important aspect is connected with his childhood, years. If you have opened this document about his biography from the Material website, then you will find that there is something that is yellow mark. Are you able to read the yellow mark paragraph?
Yes, sir. We are able to read that.
Yes, anybody can quickly read that paragraph.
Harold,
Yes, you can.
Harold Pinter was
Mhm.
born in Hackney, a working class neighborhood in London's East End, the son of a tailor. Both of his parents were Jewish. Born in England as a child, Pinter got on well with his mother, but he didn't get on well with his father, who was a strong disciplinarian. On the outbreak of World War II, Pinter was evacuated from the city to Cornwall. To the wrenched from his parents was a traumatic event for Pinter. He lived with 26 other boys in the castle on the coast. At the age of 14, he returned to London. The condition of being bombed was never left me, Pinter later said.
Yes. So you see this very interesting aspect, which became a characteristic of Pinter's writing, which became characteristics of Pinter's writing, and that is that the traumatic experience. What is the traumatic experience? Traumatic experience of Second World War. Second World War, the fear of being bombed. Fear of being bombed. So now imagine what would be the age of Pinter during Second World War. What would be his
40.
age? Yes,
14.
what would be 14?
As it is written that.
No, but you calculate. I want you to calculate the age. What would be the age of Pinter when World War begins and it is in the prime?
He was 9-year-old. World War II began in 1939.
1939. Yeah, so you can say
Yes.
9
Yeah.
to 14 years. Yeah, in that age he might have faced the World War. Yes, between 9 to 14 years he might have. And these children were taken into an isolated place, like a very ruined castle where they are protected, so that when the bombs are dropped on the cities, the women, the children, the first priority is always that save the children. Second is women, and then the men. Men are not supposed to go to the war front to fight, but here back home you protect children so that the future is safeguarded. So children are taken into an isolated place. He was taken off from parents. Obviously with father he was not having good relation, but that is not very important part for us right now. We are not seeing a kind of an Oedipal complex or other things in this place, so that aspect is not important. But he was taken away from mother also into an isolated place with other 25, 26 kids, and they have to stay, and you are staying there in a constant fear, the trauma of this fear. Constantly you stay as if the aeroplanes are flying and the bombs are dropping, and you may feel that sometime the bomb will drop where you are, then you will die. So this whooping of aeroplanes, whooshing sound of aeroplanes, and the dropping of the bombs, that experience as a child he has undergone, and that became traumatic. When things become traumatic, it goes very deep in our mind. It goes very deep in our mind, and it is nearly impossible to come out from the trauma. It is nearly impossible to come out. That is how it is so deep. And when these people, they go do creative work or any kind of work, that trauma plays a very vital role. That trauma plays a very vital role in that. So when it came to writing, what we got, what we now call is Pinteresque. The characteristic of his writing, from his own name, his last name, as in Kafka's case, we call it Kafkaesque. In this case, we started calling this Pinteresque, and that is the feeling of menace. Yeah? Feeling of menace, a threat of something invisible fear. We don't know what we are afraid of, but we are constantly in fear, like something bad will happen, like that feeling of amangal. કંઈક અમંગલ થશે તો કંઈક એ રીતે આપણે બેચેન રહીએ કે કંઈક ખોટું થવાનું છે, ખોટું થશે, કોઈ ઇન્ટ્યુટિવ ફિલિંગ થયા કરે કે કોઈ કંઈક કંઈક ગલત થવાનું છે, some curious things we feel, that is menace, feeling of menace, constant threat, constant threat, fear of something which is unknown, unknown. This that's why Pinter's plays are known as comedy of menace. Comedy of menace. The word comes from comedy of manners. Comedy of manners. There is a play on this word, comedy of manners. It is not comedy of manners, it is comedy of manners. And this again are absurd, so they are tragicomedies. It's absurd play, so they are tragicomedies. So comedy of manners. That is how it is borrowed from this word. This name is borrowed from here, and that is how it tells. Can anybody tell me who gave this term? Who gave this term to Pinter's writing, comedy of manners? Very quick, if anybody can find, there is a paragraph on comedy of manners also there on the material website. Who gave this term? Theater of absurd, who gave the term?
Martin Esslin.
Martin
Martin
Esslin.
Esslin.
He gave the term theater of absurd for Ionesco, Beckett's plays, for Pinter's and David Campton, Harold Pinter, their kinds of plays. Who gave this term? Material website will help you.
It is by Irving Wardle.
Yes, Irving Irving Wardle. And what is the name of the work? The Lunatic View. The Lunatic View, a comedy of menace. A comedy of menace. Yes, a Lunatic View, comedy of menace by Irving Wardle. He gave this name there. So what is Pinteresque or what is comedy of menace is something that has unknown fear in different way. The characters are suffering from a kind of an unknown fear or a threat to the body injury, threat to either physical injury or psychological injuries, psychological or physical injuries. And all these characters are constantly as if having a kind of a power struggle. These characters as if they are having constant power struggle, even in a day-to-day languages, day-to-day language, day-to-day conversation also, as if this is happening. And what is the reason for this, as we connect here, is that before the person hurts me, let me hurt the person. Or if I am hurt, I will hurt it back. Because that threat, this threat constantly makes us attack other people. So some kinds of hidden power struggle, conflict keeps on happening in day-to-day language or conversation also there. These are the points which will be very interesting to observe when you watch this film. Because it is written by Harold Pinter and is aware about the idea about camera, screen, he tries to give this power struggle, this unknown threat, this conflict in different ways. And even in cinema also is able to use some kinds of tricks or gimmicks, we can call it, or improvisation of possible things for cinema to let us know or experience these kinds of things are there. But how is this connected? It is connected with his childhood experience of having a trauma during Second World War, of being bombed, and that became very significant part of his writing, characteristics writing, and that became the part of what we call it comedy of menace and Pinteresque kind of characteristics there. These are biographical connections with this work and his aura of writing, his oeuvre of writing. Everything is connected in this way. Now, last point about his biography. So far as his identity is concerned, Harold Pinter, what is he or who is he? Is he a Christian, Jew, Muslim, Hindu? What kind of an identity is he having?
Sir, he is Jew.
He is a Jew, yeah. Okay. So that makes this point more significant, that what as a Christian child you will experience and what as a Jewish child in Second World War you experience is completely different story, is altogether a complete. So the same experience may not be of the Christian children. So those localities where Jews used to stay, it was these places which were bombed by Nazis. These places were bombed by Nazis, and so the people were trying to protect the Jews in other countries, and so these children were taken into safe places. If they are not taken into safe places, they would have either died in the concentration camps or pogrom of Hitler's and Nazis and other thing, and few people escaped also. And that this also was the way that many people escaped this protection there. So now what your identity plays a very vital role in your traumatic experience. This, that you are this, and then you are looked like that also as such there. Though not directly connected with our play, but when we see that he is a Jew, but at the same time he is also a bitter critic of Israel. He is also in this relation of Israel-Palestine, as now you know Israel-Palestine issue also, because you have studied Edward Said also. So you know very much about this issue and how post-colonial studies were also once upon a time concentrating around these relations and trying to speak for Arabs, trying to speak for Arab, in favor of Arab, not in favor of Jews there during this conflicts there. At that time, Harold Pinter was against Israel, against the Jewish way of dealing with the Arabic. So he was speaking for Arab and the injustice that it goes in the hands of Jews. That was what his voice was there. Very interesting thing to remember. Jew, he suffered a lot because of that. But when Israel became a very powerful country, and whenever the news about the conflicts came, his stance was rather for Arabic Palestinian people also. But that's not very important for us. For us, a couple of things which are important is two things are there. One, his childhood experience, and it converts into Pinterest. That becomes very important. His political activism and is looking at artists in society under this political dynamism at that time. What it is, that is very interesting thing to read in this play that we have to see, and his Nobel Prize speech that also we will try to observe there. So this is the biographical aspect of Harold Pinter, and trying to connect with the play, where we come to know at least that what is the characteristics of writing of Pinter and this play. So this play gets two important questions. What we say is that what is Pinteresque and how do you justify this, and what is comedy of manners and how do you see that? And both are interconnected. Yes? When you write about Pinteresque, you are exactly writing about comedy of manners, and when you write about comedy of manners, you are writing about Pinteresque, because comedy of manners is what we call it Pinteresque so far as Pinter's play are concerned. But if it is David Campton's play, in a different way we can see, because Waddell has given the title for both the writers. But here, in this case, Pinteresque and comedy of manners, they merge together there. So those characteristics also we will see there. Okay, any questions here if anybody has in this aspect? That is biographical connections with the literary text here. Okay, any questions? Anybody? Yes.
So I have. So as you are explaining Pinteresque town, so is it connected with childhood experience? That way we have to see.
No, trauma. It is like when you see that this is the characteristics of a particular dramatist's work. So you see that why this writer is doing these things. Why? So you are doing a biographical, you find that, well, this writer has a childhood trauma. So maybe because of that, this kinds of writing has become natural to the artist. That is how we are seeing that.
Okay, it is only his experience.
It is an early experience, and that is traumatic. So it might have shaped his creative thinking. And so whatever he is doing has got this effect of fear, unknown fear and threat, which we call it as Pinteresque or comedy of menace, that constantly keep on happening. And when we read biographically, we try to connect that with his childhood experience, that maybe, possibly, this might have played a vital role in looking at the world, or the vision of the world changes a lot because of our childhood experiences. That can be seen here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody? Okay, then let me cut this recording for a while here, so we can have a new recording there. For the new topic, for another topic, we will have another recording.